Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Yep, still doing these things. So today we're going to work on a Canyon reels. It's one of these narrow chassis lever drag reels that have become very popular for braid fishing inshore ocean. And this one is the HS15 inshore series. It says it holds 450 yards of 40-pound braid, and that's pretty much what you're going to find these fishing. So we're going to take this one apart and service it because it's kind of running rough. It's kind of got a stick to it. And when you pull the lever drag all the way in the free spool, the spool's running fine. But it seems like as soon as you go into that, it's just not even enough. And it's actually almost locking up when you get into full drag. So we're going to just take it apart, see, probably just needs a cleaning. And we'll see what's the cause of that particular issue there. So while I am putting on my protective glove here, I'm going to thank our first responders, our essential personnel, our people that are working in healthcare and all the supportive industries that are helping us get through this pandemic. Your efforts truly are appreciated. Thank you. The way we do this is we start from the outside and we work our way in. I don't have a schematic on this one. I've had a reel similar to this that I've worked on, so we're going to go ahead and do that. This reel does use, I'm not sure what the piece is, whether it's called a Torx or a different type of a screw set. However, I do have a box of bits that have all kinds of different bits in there, and I was able to locate the one that works. I also like this little thing. My son-in-law gave me this quite some time ago now. It's very convenient. It's a Ratchet Screwdriver. I think Snap-on makes it. It's wonderful in that you got a good palm grip on there, and when you like, you can actually roll the ratchet handle by using that cross hatch there. So I'm going to remove the handle first. This is where I'm going to recommend that you take pictures if you don't know what you're doing on a fishing reel, or if you can't find the schematic. And since I don't have the schematic, that's probably a good place to make that recommendation. That way you can go back on your pictures and take a note. Find out if you're going to reinstall something, you don't remember the orientation of a piece, or if you look in your parts tray, which I use, it's the bottom of the milk jug. You look in your parts tray and you find out that there's still a piece in there. Well, that's a good time to go back and look at your pictures and see if there wasn't something you overlooked somewhere. All right, so we just took the cap nut off. This handle should come off now. I'm going to put that into the parts tray, and that should free this up now. There's a ball bearing under here. I don't think there's anything else going to happen with taking the case off here. I think there's a little washer with a square in it there that we'll make sure that we have. And also I noticed flying out of the front of this there was a little transparent washer that went on top of the handle as well. Okay. Usually you have to take the lever drag adjuster off. When I do that, I like to make sure that it's in the free spool position. I'm just going to kind of note where these line up. The cap is got a click studs on it, and there's a click inside the cap here. Should be able to just, it's kind of hard to tell. There might be a ring holding this on here. Still hard to tell. Nope, this should be okay. Just pull the lever drag assembly up. Then notice that there's a plastic Teflon washer as well. Okay, now we can take the 3 screws out that are holding the lever drag assembly on. And this is what I mean, if you have this, you can just use a cross hatch. Or if it's difficult to break the screw, then you use your palm grip for that first turn there, and then do it with that. Either way, it works fine. I am noticing, even though the outside of the reel is clean, there is a lot of salt that's coming out of the web of this. So it may be that we've got some dirt inside. And what I like to do with these is I like to lay them on the desk here, make sure that the screws are the same size. You can tell we're moving now. All we have to do is pull this up, and that's probably the cause of the sluggishness right here. We just have a lot of dirt in this reel, and even though, like I said, the side is clean, the rest of this reel is not. You can see that we're very dry here on our spool gear or pinion gear. We've got a lot of dirty greases and oils on this. That should just push through. I think what this reel just needs is a good cleaning. You can see how we're all just accumulated dirt and grease and junk here. So let's go get a cotton swab and see if we can't get that out. I'm going to bet that's why it's gotten sluggish. I can see the gear tracks in this side plate here. So my take is going to be that this dried grease was just bogging down the assembly. Go ahead and use some penetrating oil as a cleaner here. That's why I wear my glove, because there's greases on here and other things that I would prefer not be on here, be on my hand directly. And I'll just do a real nice job cleaning up the case. Looks like we have 2 bearings here, so let's go give those a squirt of oil. I'm going to use Real-X, which is an aftermarket synthetic oil. And I'm just going to load the bearings up and let this case sit while we go and do the rest of this. This is our pressure plate. You want to make sure that that drag plate is clean on both sides. There's a lot of buildup here, and I'm thinking again, this is why the drag is kind of slipping or sticking, because it looks like there's some dry grease that's right on that plate, and that shouldn't be. So we'll go ahead and clean that off. It's kind of hard to tell. I think that's in the plate, so we'll be okay there. All right, drag plate comes off. We should be able to remove the assembly. And this is pretty straightforward. On the back end here is typical of a lever drag reel. You just have a holding pin for the reel spool, and it's typically a cross-section type of a look. And we've got a lot of something going on the bottom of this one, so again, we want to clean this while we have everything out. So even though the outside of the reel looks nice and clean, the inside is not, and that's probably why this is performing the way it is. Okay, we should be able to, well, we just have the drag washer on this side. There's nothing else in this assembly here. We do have a washer, or we do have a bearing, and we do have a spool spring, and we have another bearing underneath there. And then we should probably be able to pull this whole thing right out. Yep, we can. So this is very simple. There's hardly anything holding this together, but you do want to get these out because you want to make sure that they're clean. Again, I've noticed the sluggish performance in this reel. I think that's what the issue has been, and this is going to enable us to spruce it up a little bit as part of the tune-up. The good news with this reel is it's very simple design. I was surprised this came out. Usually there's a little collar here that bolts this in so it doesn't move. That wasn't the case here. We do have the bearing on this side still. You could push that bearing out if you like. I don't see a clip or anything. I'm just going to oil that bearing in place. We can reinstall the spool. You might want to put a little bit of grease on there. And then we can go ahead and put that spool through. And this is one of my pet peeves, but I'm not going to ever change, folks, but I don't like working on reels with all of the line on there, but I understand. It's Power Pro or whatever. It's a $30 or a $40 stack of line on here, and I can get where they don't want to do that. This appears to be a Carbon Tex drag washer. You don't need to do anything with that, so we'll leave that alone. You just need to align now we have oiled that bearing. I'm going to put a little bit on the back side of that one as well. You just want to make sure that you align this to the cross slot in the case, just like that. We'll come over here, make sure that we clean the gear off. And I'm going to just say that the reason why this one is not optimal is that it's got a lot of old grease. I don't know when the last time was that it was serviced, but it's been a while. The grease wouldn't accumulate like that so quickly. Alright, we got a nice gear here for those looking to purchase this wheel. It's a nice gear structure. Check all the teeth, make sure that they're clean. I'll do this for example more than need, but if you do find that there's stuff in the teeth, go ahead in with a hard brush. You can use a toothbrush. You can use this. This is one of those little kit brushes that you find in hardware stores and the like. I think they'd be 3 for a few dollars. Get the stuff out of the teeth, and then go ahead and load that gear up with grease. And go ahead and put the grease back in. And install that gear in place there. We have the spring and the small bearing here that goes on top of it, so we'll make sure that that gets a nice drink of oil there as well. And our pressure plate goes on. That wide side is what's going to hold the bearing there, and on the inside is that second gear. Serrated end is the end that's going to be going into the pressure plate. You want to do the same thing with this with the gear. You want to clear all the slots out if there is any dry grease in there. I did notice there's a little washer on here, so don't lose that washer. And do the same thing here. We'll make sure that you get a good amount of grease onto that. And when I go to install these, I like to put this into the pressure plate. Some folks like to put it into the bearing slot itself, the other side, and then match it in. I just find that it's usually difficult with those little multi-pronged pieces to line them up easily, so I generally go for let's do it this way versus the other. That's it. Very simple. You don't have to put anything on that Carbon-Tex washer. Carbon-Tex will tell you you can, but you don't have to, and I generally choose to just leave them the same. We've cleaned our cases, we've lubed our bearings, we've lubed the gears. This is a single speed reel. I'm just simply going to go ahead and match that all in then. We're going to line the holes now. Grab our 3 little screws. And now you're coming to the point where memory may fail you, right? It's been a while. And you know, we've done some things here. You might start to wonder, gee, where did that piece go or that part go? Or it seems like it was forever ago in terms of when I took the reel apart. Some people will tell you you can oil the threads on these, particularly since we saw some salt coming out of those when we took them out. So go ahead and do that if you like. But this is a good time to go back to your pictures if you start to forget what the sequence was that you took these off in, or how a particular part was oriented and the like. You go back and rewind everything and go look for your pictures. I always like to do this right now. Just spin the spool. That's nice and quiet now, right? And that always helps me when I go to redo this. Next up then, we put the lever drag arm on. We had that little plastic Teflon shield that went on first. Seated that way. The arm, when I started this, was over here, so I want to make sure it's over in that area when I go to reinstall. And we have our spring set here. That just gets screwed on. And this is a good time to test. You want to make sure that you're in free spool, and then as you throw your arm, you want to make sure that you're turning here. I'm not seeing that, so let's tighten this down a little more. There we go. We're turning now. Okay. So next up then is the handle assembly. We have that square metal washer that went on. Then our handle assembly went on. And I wasn't paying very good attention when I took it off, but I noticed that the washer has left its little track there. So the handle goes on here. And we had a plastic washer that went on the top of this. And we have our nut cap. Okay, free spool. And now you can see that the handle is turning when we do this. And now we just need to adjust for free throw. Free spool. There you go. That easy. And you have max drag. Alright, so that's the Canyon lever drag fishing reel. It's looks like 3 or 4 ball bearings. It's a high speed 6-to-1. This is the HS15 inshore series. That's how you take it apart. Tune it up. Get it going fishing again. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, I ask you to please subscribe. See more of these. These are the types of things that interest you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section, and I will try to answer all of the questions that are posted. If you want to see a particular reel, you can leave that there as well, or if your question's about a reel other than this one, that's fine. If you're stuck on fixing one of the reels yourself, if you leave that question and I know the answer, I'll try and give that answer to you to help you along, and try and get you giving your reels those second chances, right? So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and if you did, I thank you for that. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.